I don't know why we're not taught how to learn. I feel like this is something that's very important to understand, but this is something that we do not take as seriously as we should. How does a person learn? I can't tell you how everyone learns, but I'll just tell you how I learn. So I have a very simple philosophy. I believe you should always weigh experience more than theory if you're really trying to learn the subject. Now, let me tell you the difference between book smarts and street smarts. The three fundamental components of learning in general comes down to theory, reasoning, and experiences. Okay? Theory are the set of laws within a certain field. Reasoning is the ability to make decisions. Okay? And experiences are just the first-hand subjective data. Okay, so let me just simplify it one more time. The three parts of any field are theory, reasoning, and experiences. Now, in school, the order of importance is that theory is king. Okay, you could even say it's the cake. Then reasoning is the second most important, and experiences are known as the icing on the cake. And the phrase icing on the cake pretty much means like, it's good if you have it, but you don't need it. It's not the cake. So here's a simulation of that. In school, typically, you're getting a bunch of textbooks and you're getting a bunch of formulas within those textbooks. Your teachers give you lectures on the laws within the textbooks. You're learning more of the theory. And then later on, you're tested upon the theory, aka you're being asked to reason upon the theory. And if you're lucky, let's say in the last year or two of college, you're finally getting some experiences. You're an engineer, you're finally building that radio. So that's how it works in school. Theory leads, then reasoning, then experiences. But in the real world, I found out that modern day polymaths have the exact opposite perspective. They lead with experiences, they reason through their own experiences, and when they get the theory, it's the icing on the cake. And I'll give you an example of this. I am an autodidact with public speaking. Okay, like I pretty much went into Toastmasters. I began eventually giving speeches in Toastmasters. I started to work on the different positions within Toastmasters, such as planned speaking, impromptu speaking, evaluations, being the Toastmasters timer, all of that. So I'm getting a bunch of experiences, and eventually I'm capable of reasoning within my experiences, right? Like sometimes my heart is beating really quick right before a speech, and I'm like, the last time that this happened, you had to make your body big, you had to smile, and suddenly the perception towards the racing heartbeat changes. So I'm over here like reasoning through my first-hand experiences. And later on, as I was doing my public speaking journey, eventually I ended up working with this public speaking coach who's in Largo, and he wrote a book. And he's like, Armani, you have to read this book first, and then we'll begin our first session. And as I'm reading the book, I'm like, whoa, there's so much theory in here. But this time, the theory, it came to life for me because I already had the experiences beforehand. Now it's just over here crystallizing my experiences. So that's the modern day polymath. You may have a similar experience with coding, for example. Like you didn't go to school for it, like you're self-taught. And here's the thing. I'm not trying to say like we vilify theory with the modern day polymath mindset. You may get just enough theory to begin, okay? Just enough theory to begin. Then you begin. And as you're over here trying, failing, and all of this stuff, you have so much experiences, which allows you to reason much better. And now you're over here reading more books, consuming the PowerPoints, willingly watching lectures. And that is how you learn in the real world. Now, I'm not trying to be one of those guys that's over here vilifying school or just book smarts in general. I believe school is right for a certain group of people, and I believe book smarts is great. Here's my formula. Street smarts plus book smarts is better than just street smarts, and just street smarts is better than just book smarts. So have both. Have street smarts and book smarts. But you got to always lead with one. Like in the real world, this idea of 50-50 is not accurate. This is us trying to get clean theoretical principles and trying to apply it on the real world. And if you try doing something like that, you're going to get a lot of silliness. Like imagine if someone came up to you and is like, "Hey, why are you using your right hand to write?" And you're like, "Well, it's because I'm right-handed." The other person is irate at you. It's like, "What do you mean you're right-handed? Is your left hand no good? Are you saying that?" And you're like, no, I like my left hand. It's like, then you will write with your left hand at times too. You write with your right hand sometimes, and your left hand sometimes. It needs to be equal. Now, this guy may have the right intent. He may have the right spirit. But is that something that's reasonable to ask of you? No. It's because things are not 50-50. One side leads and the other side amplifies. Okay? So this is the way that I like to view it. I'm a right-handed guy. Okay? But let's say I'm chilling in a bus stop at night, at the middle of nowhere. No one's around me. And I'm just waiting on this bus. And I'm like, where is this bus? I'm a little scared. I mean, this is such a bad neighborhood. And eventually, there's this guy with a hoodie, a black hoodie, covering his face. You can't see him. And he's holding this big axe. And he comes to me. And he's like, would you like to keep your right hand or your left hand? I'm going to be like, I'm trying to keep both, right? Even though I'm a right-handed person, I still need my left hand. It's because the left hand is needed for other things. The left hand, like I still shoot a basketball with the left hand. The left hand amplifies. You see? So it's not as though it's book smarts versus street smarts, which is better. It's like my philosophy is you lead with street smarts and you fill in the gaps with book smarts. Just study enough theory to begin, get the experiences. No one can take that away from you. Reason through your experiences. Then as you're trying to reason through your experiences, every now and then you're going to get certain gaps. You're like, man, I can't understand that. Like, what do I do? And then you're going to see that there was a book that's specifically written for this pain point. Or it could be a blog. It could be a YouTube video, a podcast. Now you're over here getting the theory and you enter back into the field smarter. See, this is what I like. Lead with street smarts, amplify with book smarts.